And what's going on, guys? Minicall here, coming at you with a first impression of the Shadowlands team. Planning to actually take them into a war fight as well as a blitz fight, just to kind of see how the team is performing. Still kind of playing around a little bit with the ISO 8s. I think for the most part I have everyone kind of where I would like them to be. The only exception I think is going to be Moon Knight, actually, who upon looking at his kit, I think I might like him actually better as a raider. So I am going to try that out a little bit. Part of that kind of lies in with his, I believe it is his ultimate. Let me see. No, so it's actually his special. His special is going to have a 100% crit chance on any target that has a negative effect. And with this team, there are going to be some negative effects on the field. He does have his ultimate and his special available on turn 1, so I think that's just kind of, what we're looking at. Anyway, so I'm just going to kind of go into this team a little bit, look at their kits, and like I said, going to do a war fight. I am going to have to do a little bit of a modified war fight because I currently actually have Daredevil on defense, so I will be subbing Daredevil out for another character. And then for a blitz fight, just pretty much normal. This team is definitely a war offense team. They get a lot of their boosts in war, but there's also kind of been a little bit of a development, and I guess a little bit on my end, in the possibility that both Moon Knight and White Tiger are potential characters that can kind of ease up a little bit the gear restrictions into Dark Dimension 4, as well as Dark Dimension 3. They both have the city tag. And then even Night Nurse to some extent, she's a skill character, which there aren't too many skill characters in the game that are really kind of worth building up. I think Night Nurse actually might be fairly good in the Doom raids with her rework, so that's just a possible character that I'm thinking about. I'll kind of make more of a decision on my city team once I do get closer to the city nodes. Obviously, I have Global and Cosmic to worry about first. Once I am kind of built up around those two sections, I'll possibly consider taking these guys into Dark Dimension 4. But it's just something to kind of think about. So anyway, let's kind of get into their kits a little bit. Moon Knight, a little bit of a different character. He doesn't block, but he does get, if he gets deflect, he flips deflect to offense up. He gets his speed bar built up. He is reducing his damage reduction, which kind of somewhat counters his ability not to block. 40% resistance, and then he gains 10% max health, and Shadowland allies gain 10% max health as well. In war, while this character has counter, he also gains 50% damage, and he is going to get that counter from Daredevil's special. His T4 is going to give everyone a boost of another 20% max health, so that's going to be 30% max health for this entire team. So definitely a good T4 and something I will invest in the near future. His Death from Above, very temperamental, and it's, I guess, to kind of go with the lore of this character and kind of the multiple personalities, but this attack will either do 300 to 400% damage, apply heal block, and then it also has a 50% chance to apply 3 additional negative effects to each enemy from the list below. He's also going to gain 100 to 200% focus for this attack, just to kind of, that focus is going to help him actually land these debuffs if they do go off. And then in war, this attack is going to clear 3 positive effects on each enemy. If you T4 this, it's going to increase the damage 80 to 100% for all enemies. Those negative effects are going to apply for 2 turns in war, or rather just apply negative effects for 2 turns, so that definitely helps him with his special and land that 100% crit chance. And then in war, it's also going to clear all positive effects, so a very strong ultimate ability. Again, something that is definitely kind of T4 worthy. Night Guardian, it's just going to increase his damage and rebound it from 3 to 5, up from 2 to 4. So a decent T4, I'd say probably more of a luxury item. Next, we've got his Lunar Strike. It's going to increase his damage by 60%, and then it's always going to apply a random positive effect for 2 turns. Right now, it's a 50% chance. With his long cooldowns, this is definitely something that might work for him. Again, I think it's more of a luxury T4 than a necessity. Next on the list, we will move on over to Daredevil. Enhanced Senses, his passive. It's going to increase everyone's speed by an additional 5%. Shadowland allies are actually going to gain an additional 10%. So we are looking at essentially 15% increase in speed. And what else do we got? He's going to gain 5% dodge chance for every Shadowlands ally. So he's got 4 allies. So, 20% dodge. And then in war, he's going to gain an additional 10% additional speed for self and Shadowland allies. If you T4 this, it's going to basically up everything. I think an additional 10% in total. So, basically it's just kind of boosting his speed and his dodge. A good passive. His ultimate, just basically increasing the damage. And, again, he's going to chain to 4 to 6 instead of 3 to 4. Definitely a luxury item, not a necessity. This one right here is kind of interesting, and normally I would say this T4 really wouldn't be worth much, but in war, Moon Knight is actually going to gain offense up if he has counter, which that counter is also going to give him speed up. So this 2 counters, I would imagine, would then translate to offense up times 2, which I would then think would also increase his speed by 2, but that was something I'd have to play test and see if that actually works that way. If that is the case, this is definitely a good T4. Next, this is just kind of a little boost in damage, and he always gets the bonus attack. Again, just kind of a luxury item, not a necessity. Moving on over to Night Nurse, we have Triage. When this character, any Shadowlands ally, drops below 50% max health, you're going to apply defense up to that character, and then you're going to fill this character's speed bar by 30%. The idea is just to kind of give her, that enhanced speed and have that ally live an extra turn so she can heal them. So on her turn, she has a 25% chance to heal the most injured ally for 15% of this character's max health. And in war, on turn, heal the most injured Shadowland ally for 15% of this character's max health. So that's pretty good, and that's without even having that T4'd. So the T4 definitely, boosts them up a little bit. Again, I don't think this is as necessarily, a must T4, but it's still a good T4. I'd definitely put it maybe more in the luxury category. This one, it's going to basically turn this into a turn 1 move, and it's going to flip 3 negative effects on self and all Shadowland allies, so basically turns 3 negative effects into positives. It's going to heal all allies for 4,000 health plus 15% of this character's max health, and then also apply regeneration. So this basically turns it into a turn 1 move. Definitely kind of a cool T4, and I'm kind of on the fence with this one on it being kind of a necessity versus a luxury. I definitely think it could kind of get the team going, so I'll kind of come back to that one a little bit. Her special over here, by T4ing it, it clears 3 negative effects from the most injured ally and all adjacent allies. It's going to heal the most injured ally and the adjacent allies for 4,200 health and 20% of this max character's health. So really all you're gaining with this T4 is you are clearing the 3 negative effects. And then you're also adding in the adjacent healing. So a cool T4. Again, Night Nurse is kind of looking like more the cleanser of this team. Her basic right here, if this character has 2 or more Shadowline allies, flip positive effects and negative effects on the primary target. Pretty cool basic. And if you T4 it, it adds 60% damage, and then it's also going to then flip 2 positive effects and negative effects. So definitely kind of a cool basic, again, kind of more on the luxury line, I think. Next on over is Elektra. We've got her T4. She's going to apply evade and stealth to all adjacent shadow, land, and hand allies. I don't really think this is all that necessary. Again, it'll be kind of one of those things as the team plays on. I don't know that those evades are really going to be as necessary. In War, her Disrupted is going to apply for 2 turns instead of just 1, and it's going to be a bit of a damage boost. Into the Shadows, again, she's going to be... she's going to clear 2 positive effects and gain stealth for 2 turns. When you T4 it, she's going to clear 2 to 3 positive effects, so you've got the chance to clear an additional positive. Her basic, always apply bleed to the primary target. And then also, if this character has 3 or more Shadowland allies or the target is a defender, you apply 3 bleeds instead and gain an extra 1,000 extra focus for this attack. And basically the idea behind that is with that extra 1,000% focus, she should always be applying 3 bleeds. Again, I don't see any kind of like essential T4s, just kind of more luxury items. Moving on over to White Tiger, what do we got here? So on kill, she fields her speed buy for 40%. On spawn, she's going to apply offense up for 2 turns to self and all Shadowline allies. And when Moon Knight gets offense up, he does increase his speed. On kill, it's going to fill the speed bar by an additional 30%. So I would imagine that's going to come up to 70%. So definitely a good passive. And then on spawn, she's also going to fill the speed bar for 10%, plus 5% speed bar per Shadowland ally. So she's going to have a lot of speed. Definitely a really good T4. Next we got Thrill of the Fight. Pretty much just increasing the healing, 10% additional healing, clears all negative effects from self, and then an additional 140% damage to primary target. So definitely a high damage move. Again, I don't think it's necessarily an essential T4, but it's definitely one that's going to add a lot of damage to this team. Her Stalking Strike, again, it's just kind of a damage boost, so again, not always essential, but definitely will help this team put out more damage. And lastly, we've got the Rising Claw. Again, this is just going to boost her damage and apply defense down for 2 turns. Now, the thing I also like about her basic and why I have her as my striker is that her bonus attack is going to apply this to defense down for 1 turn and slow for 2 turns. So you are potentially applying, up to 2 defense downs per turn and 4 slows. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking with her. Elektra and Daredevil, I have currently as skirmishers to basically get those vulnerables out on the field for my White Tiger. Night Nurse is a healer. I think that's pretty, self-exclamatory. And then I'm thinking about testing out Moon Knight as a raider. With that all being said, let's kind of get into some action. Before I do go into that, just real quick, if you are looking at focusing on red stars, I would say White Tiger and Moon Knight are definitely kind of the ones you're going to want the red stars on the most. I think White Tiger and then Moon Knight would be kind of my priority. Just because White Tiger, her damage is a little bit more consistent, whereas Moon Knight, it's a little more temperamental. I've built them all up. One nice thing about this team is that, 3 of the characters were already in-game, and as a late-game player, I already had them built up, so it's kind of cool to be able to just work on a team that really only needed 2 characters built up. I think they will also function a little bit better once I do start T4ing, but I am not quite at that point. So let's just pop into a war fight, see what this team does. I want to try and sub in a character that's going to, I guess, function fairly similar to Daredevil, so it's kind of a realistic test. Like I said, this team is going to get the most benefit in the war fights. So let's go ahead, pop in. We are currently looking at the reactor in my Alliance War. So let's just kind of see... trying to look at a team that is kind of hard, but not hard enough where I'm like risking a possible loss. So let's see. Let's go ahead and try this shield team over here. They are similar in power, and we'll see how they do. I will probably slow down things when I am on the Moon Knight and the White Tiger kind of turns, just so they can kind of get a little bit better of a feel. This is a punch down, so I'm playing it, I guess, a little bit safer. And again, until I kind of really learn how a character functions, I try not to do any, too risky of a fight. Let me see. Let's go ahead and take in. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a character that kind of has a counter element to their kit. I don't think I really have anyone that'll do a counter. So let's just pop in. Let's see, we've got 207. Let's go ahead and pop in. Let's see. I'm going to say let's pop in Shuri. Shuri kind of adds in an interesting mechanic where she'll be kind of giving buffs for this team, and we'll just see kind of how they do in this fight. After that, I'll go in and I will do a Blitz fight just to kind of do the full team, and then on our next war, I will make sure I remember to remove Daredevil from defense, and that way I will have the full team ready to kind of attack our next war, and we can see how they really perform in war. So we do have a bit of debuffs on our side, so we're going to pop Shuri. It's going to apply defense up to everyone, and it's also going to generate ability energy for 2 random allies, so we will pop that up. We got energy for Elektra and Night Nurse. And let's see how this goes. Not looking so good so far. Let's see. So what I'm going to do, I want to apply that Disrupted over here to the shield security so he is not taunting. And I think now our next goal will be to kind of work on this shield medic over here. Though we also have the ability, we could also crit on the shield security. Let's go ahead and crit on shield security and see what that does. Hopefully we get some vulnerables going. So we got a vulnerable on him. We got a vulnerable on shield medic. We will go ahead and, because I think she's going to attack. So let's go ahead and heal. Call that attack from Elektra. I think as this team is built up more, that attack will probably come from White Tiger, but there is a bit of a power difference between the two of them right now. So we were able to take out the shield medic. We did just lose our White Tiger, which is unfortunate. I think we should still be okay. Let's go ahead and apply his ultimate, see if we get some debuffs on the field, and this should also clear all of the positive effects. Or 3 of the positive effects, rather. So we did clear the field of positive effects, which is pretty cool. If we T4'd that would have cleared all of them, which I can definitely see the appeal of that. This team with that could do very well, I would say, against characters or teams like the Marauders, where they are really dependent on positive effects. This fight is going to be a little closer than I am normally comfortable with. Hopefully we can get a nice heal from Shuri, and we will see if Shuri and Elektra over here can finish off this team. I would say our next target should be probably Coulson. All right, and boom, we should be able to take care of this shield assault pretty well. Again, this team, I don't have any T4s invested, and I think the team is going to function a little bit better with the full team. And Moon Knight isn't quite fully built up yet. I'd like to at least get him to gear tier 12, level 65. And that's kind of when I think a team really is fully testable. But they did pretty good for a little run-in. Not a bad fight. Let's go on in, do a Blitz fight real fast, see if we can find kind of a good matchup to go against. Ideally, an Marauders type thing, or, something along those lines would be something I would enjoy. Let's see. So here we are, 274. Let's take off Sim Blitz. So we are an 8.3. Which is definitely going to be the hardest level of 8.3. Let's see how they do against Defenders. Defenders, not exactly the ideal team that I would like to be testing this out against. But, parts of their kit definitely kind of rely on buff-heavy teams, and while the defenders certainly are not, a meta team by any means, they definitely do have that aspect of high buff concentrations. So I don't think that counter mechanic is going to work in Blitz, but let's just go ahead and see anyway. We'll throw the little baton, get counter going. I thought that counter should apply to everyone. That's interesting. I need to look at that on the kit and see why. I thought that actually would then apply counter to everyone, but let me take a look at my Daredevil, just looking off screen on Dracarys and see why that didn't happen the way I thought it would. Apply counter. Okay, so in order to get that to apply the counter to Shadowlands allies, you actually have to T4 that. So that kind of makes that almost like an essential T4. So that's why it didn't apply counter to everyone. So we will definitely look at that. That's definitely, I think, going to be one of those essential T4s to kind of get Moon Knight to have his offense up. So that's something I'll definitely be looking at in the near future. Let's go ahead and, again, do this special, because we do have a debuff, so that should crit. And it should crit to both Luke Cage and Punisher, so we should get at least 2 additional vulnerables on the field. So we did, so that's awesome. Sadly, our Moon Knight over here did just get one-shotted. I'd like to kind of play around a little bit with White Tiger's kind of ISO 8 mechanic, which sadly our Punisher just died, which is who I was planning on doing that to. So I guess we will do it to Luke Cage over here. I'm going to speed things up a little bit. We just lost our White Tiger. So again, this team is still a bit on the squishy side. We're looking at it, we are in 8.3, which is the hardest you're going to get in Blitz. And without the T4s, the team doesn't become as sure to win. So this Blitz test is going absolutely terrible. They are not doing very well against the defenders. I don't think this really reflects directly on the team. I think this team definitely still does have a lot of potential. It's just a matter of getting those T4s in. So not exactly how I'd like to end this test, but I still do think this team does have promise. That initial kind of defenders thing, not so much, but definitely looking forward to, I think I should have Moon Knight at least over here. I should have at least Moon Knight by Gear 12, hopefully by the end of the week, and that should really be able to give me a chance to kind of fully test them just a little bit, start adding in some T4s to the team, and seeing how they really perform. So those are my initial thoughts on the Shadowlands team. Definitely a fun team to build. If you are not currently building anything else, and you already have a fairly decent Daredevil, Elektra, and Night Nurse, if you don't have any 3 of those characters built up, it's definitely a team I think you can wait on a little bit. But I wouldn't say it's like this crazy meta team or anything like that. They just seem like they're going to be a really good offense team, and Moon Knight and White Tiger in particular are possible Dark Dimension candidates. So if y'all have any questions about any additional thoughts I have on Shadowlands, I plan on working on an infographic for their T4s probably in the next few days. So let me know if you have any questions. As always, please feel free to like and subscribe if you did find this video helpful and you'd like to see additional Marvel Strike Force content. Thank you so much for watching. Hope everyone is having a good week, and take it easy.